Hey guys, what is going on? I'm Kevin Paloy, and welcome to the press conference for Ricky Stanicky, hitting Prime Video on March 7th. I'm pretty sure they asked me to do this press conference because my last name is a goofy-sounding Polish name that sounds kind of like Stanicky, and also Mario Lopez probably said no. But I'm okay with both of those things, guys. Thank you for being, especially because, I mean, look at this crew we have here. I'm so excited to talk to you guys all about this hilarious film. So let me introduce our panelists for you guys watching at home or at work today. First off, I mean, this man is a living comedy legend. He's the co-writer and director. You know all the credits: Dumb and Dumber, Mary, Kingpin, Fever Pitch. They go on and on. Peter Farrelly.
That's right.
It's Farrelly. It's Farrelly. I had one job. I had one job. I said Farrelly. You hear, I swear, it's like one of those things that people say it two different ways, and you're always like, what is the right way to say it? Right. I got it. Yes, Farrelly. Yes. Peter. I messed up the first name. Damn it. He is low-key one of the funniest people in Hollywood. Also, probably the sharpest dressed, Mr. John Cena.
Oh, sorry, I can't say that. Hey.
This next guy, he can do it all. He can do action, he can do comedy, he can do drama, he can do horror, he can do musicals, he can do beer runs, he can do Iron Claws. Zac Efron.
Yes.
Yeah. And these next two guys, I'm gonna group together because I think they are both two of the fastest rising comedic actors in Hollywood.
And brothers.
We are
related.
brothers.
Yeah.
Identical. It's hard to tell you guys apart sometimes.
Yeah, we get that.
One just most recently starred in Prime Video's Coming to America opposite Eddie Murphy. No big deal. Jermaine Fowler. Yeah. And this guy is he's just stealing scenes left and right. You've probably seen him in Me Time and Beef. Andrew Santino.
Let's go.
This next guy, he needs no introduction. I mean, he kicks so much ass with so much regularity through so many years. Mr. William H. Macy.
Damn right.
And last but not least, he is a hilarious comedian who plays a hilariously unhilarious rabbi in this movie, Jeff Ross.
Hello, everybody. Welcome.
You guys, and that's all. You guys, congrats on this film. It is hilarious. I laughed out loud many, many times. It is educational. I learned what air fisting is. Thank you, Bill, for that. The music is fantastic. Big fan of the jizz jams. No, just
thank you.
Amazing.
Thank you.
And I could deeply relate because I would pay for John Cena to be my friend too because this guy is awesome.
All right.
Peter, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about the origins of Ricky Stanicky. I assume, like your last two films, like Green Book and Greatest Beer Run, this is based on a true story.
Yes, it is all true. No, this is like a lot of my projects. This took forever to get made. Honestly, I think this was floating around for 15 years. But they all were. It's unbelievable. Dumb and Dumber took like 5 years to get made. Mary took 10 years. And so that's why you always work on 3 or 4 things at the same time, and hopefully one of them comes through. But this is a long, simmering project that had because of that, I look back and I'm grateful because we were able to work on it over the years, and I think it just got better and better and better, and I'm really proud of it. I loved what we ended up with, and these guys, I mean, it couldn't have been a better cast than these guys.
You won an Oscar recently for Green Book. Congratulations, by the way, sir. I think the fans of your comedy maybe might have been a little worried that we lost you to the world of prestige films. Are you back? Are you going to sort of pivot between both lanes?
I never planned well. Like it's not like I never had like a long term. Like I'll do comedies, then dramas, then this. I just do the thing that they'll make, and this is the one now. Honestly, that. Like I said, I have 3 or 4 at a time going, and this is the one they greenlit, so I made it. Pretty much.
Give it up for non-prestige films.
Yeah. Hey, this film is very prestigious. Look at this cast.
Complete opposite.
Yeah, he's back doing trash again.
But it's hilarious trash, guys. Put it on the poster. I want to go down the line.
Memoirs, hilarious.
I mean, rock hard, Rod. You know, he's a trash artist. This guy's hilarious. Because I want to go down the line and for each of you, maybe tease your characters and tell us what you were able to do with these characters that you've never done with the character before. John, you want to start?
Oh man, I'll be the worst answer. I play someone who's imaginary. Imagine that. I play somebody who's invisible.
Well, you play the real version of an imaginary character.
Well, I mean, I didn't want to spoil it for him.
Oh,
yeah, that's all right. That's cool. No, but that's fine. There it is. Spoiler alert. I play the real version of an imaginary friend. That's all right. That's
what
fine.
movie are we talking about?
Exactly what he said. No, I think, man, this one was fun, and you want to talk about stuff you haven't been able to do before. We had just such a great group, and hanging out with these guys every day, and just making each other laugh, and hopefully making you guys laugh. That was something that was real special. So
yeah, and you really tapped into your musical talents in this one. Let me say.
Someone else did. That's that is not me.
That is not you.
That's not me. That's great coaching. That is great coaching.
I don't know if I believe that. I don't know. All I'm saying is, like, guys, is there going to be an official soundtrack? Is there going to be a Jizz Jam soundtrack?
I would hope so.
Because we need the full-length versions of all these songs.
You can put the Jizz Jams on OnlyFans or something?
There you go.
All right.
Zach, how about you? Tease your character and tell us how this guy was different from anyone you've played.
Dean's one of 3 friends that have been together since they were very young, and they get into a lot of hijinks and trouble, just like all young men, and they've created this 4th friend that they sort of blame all of their trouble or sort of bad behavior on. But he's not real. He's fake. They've created but they commit to the lie, and sort of have to really invent this fake person. They give him an Instagram account. They've got a journal of all of their adventures together. They've made him like a philanthropist that's really hard to reach, and it's a pretty elaborate lie. So at some point down the road, they sort of have to make this guy come to life, and we hire a guy from Las Vegas.
Macy.
Oh shit, Atlantic City.
Close.
Way off.
Close.
And it kind of continues. It's really really funny, man.
Jermaine, tell us about Wes.
Yeah, Wes is part of the 3 Liars, and it was great being a part of a group that they just want the best for each other, and they just wanted to hang out. That's all they really wanted. But also, he's going through a rut, so to speak, and he meets Rod, and he changes his life.
Andrew?
JT is having a baby, and this film kind of hinges a little bit on their breaking the camel's back with screwing up and missing the birth of his son, perhaps, to go party. And
so he's a really likable guy.
Yeah, he's like, yeah. Well, it's their fault too. It's not just mine. But no, he's kind of subject to wanting the lie to keep going. I think JT's one of the last guys that wants. I want to keep the lie going. These guys are more willing to, maybe fess up or come clean, and I want to keep the lie going because I don't want my wife to find out what we really did. But anyway, yeah. But we bonded together as friends, and we bought a lunatic. Yeah.
Damn right you did.
Yeah, we did.
We'll go around the back. Jeff, tell us about the rabbi.
Oh, I have the best part in the movie.
It's true.
I have the best part. I play a rabbi that gets roofied during a circumcision. Did I give away too much? And I'm not going to give away what happens, but it was really fun to do. And you said things you've never done before in a movie. I got to circumcise a rubber baby, and actually do a scene with a real baby and all these great actors who we shot it a year ago. That's why none of them remember their parts. But it was a great shoot. It was really funny. We were in Australia. We laughed a lot, and I made some new friends, and I loved it.
Bill, tell us about Summer Hayes.
Summer Hayes is the boss of all of these guys and runs the business, and I read the script. I loved it immediately. It was quite a high wire act to keep that ball in the air, and you did it beautifully. And then I got to the dicking part, and I didn't know that existed. And
What do you mean, act it out?
It exists now. It is a thing
no,
now.
you got to pay. Buy a ticket for that.
Yes.
But the second I read it about air dicking, I was walking around the house for a month with my wife Felicity, saying, "What about this? What about that?" Figuring out how to various ways to air dick. Makes you want to see the film.
And you mastered it. I was gonna thank you. I was gonna ask you how much rehearsing the air dicking took, but a month.
A month walking around the house,
Amazing.
being lewd.
That's what's kind of funny is it's a R-rated kind of like raunchy ball-busting comedy. That was what I loved about it, and one of the reasons I love Pete so much is that he's not afraid. He goes for it.
Well, the reason that the ear dicking thing does work so well is because it's William H. Macy doing it, who's, you know, a legend, and he classed up the whole show. I mean, these guys are hilarious, every one of these guys, but to bring you in, that changed everything in my mind. I love that.
That tells you all you need to know about this movie, that air dicking was the high point, the most sophisticated thing.
For the cast, you know, we always hear about sort of the tradition that they have on Farrelly movies and using a lot of the same crew members. Zach, you've done a couple in a row now. How is working on a Peter Farrelly joint different from any other experience you're going to have on set?
How's it different? It's working with Pete's the best, man. Pete has an incredible sense for tone. Like he knows what he's doing. You can trust him with pretty much everything. It's just really fun to work with him. Like figuring out plans, ideas, character, everything is just it's a laugh. It's enjoyable. It's really constructive. So I would do just about anything with Pete. It's super fun, man. Beer Run was a blast. This was even more fun. So. Yeah.
He's a fucking liar. He's a terrible, terrible person.
Screamer.
Yeah. How was your experience, guys?
I didn't enjoy working with Pete.
We signed an NDA.
Not a fan.
Made us.
Yeah, they told us. No, it was incredible. Pete likes to use people from his life, and almost every movie he's done involves people from his life, which I think is incredible. And he just knows how to. He knows how to really stay on task, which is tough to do with comedy. I think of all the comedies I've ever been involved, like TV stuff, and you just hard sometimes. People go off, and you start to get in these weird diatribes, and you lose sense.
Especially with comics, we just want to
very
one-up
good.
each other.
Yeah, he's so good at being like, get here again, and then you can kind of play and go back. And he's probably the best I've ever worked with at that. At like reining comedy in is so hard to do.
Staying on the path.
Yeah, it's really tough. I mean, that's such a minutia thing, but it's really true. It's so hard. People don't really know how hard that is when you have 4 people improvising. It's tough to like stay in the thing. But Pete would go, well, no.
It's not what I wrote.
Yeah, it's not what, yeah. And then you'll get right back to it.
That's not it.
Yeah. And then we'll get back in, and then he'll go, play, cool, yeah, but then come on. And then we'd get back to it.
He's also very honest and blunt with his notes, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
Always very direct is the right one.
Yeah. Yeah, he'll often
He'll tell it
go,
to you straight. He'll be like, no.
That's it. No,
What
it's not
happened?
funny.
Yeah. Which is great because that's what you want. Like that's what you don't want. You don't need it sugar coated. You want it to be good. Yeah. So it's fun.
Get us done early. So.
Yeah,
we
you want to go
usually
home.
were.
Yeah,
We usually
go
were.
home
That's all we
Yeah,
cared about.
so let's just get to it. Come on.
Guys, I've got
Novel
some
idea.
questions now submitted from the journalists watching along with us today. This is for everyone. What part of the script most caught your attention, besides the air dicking?
Air dicking. All right, damn it. All right.
We've covered the air dicking. John, you want to
And for me, it was the concept of the whole thing. How do you make an imaginary friend real? And then you read it again and again, and there's, man, I never want to tell the audience what to take away from the movie, but there's so much there that you can take away from the script and just the journey of everybody. I think you discover something new every time. Originally, I just wanted to know how they'd pull it off, and man, it's so beautifully written. And then as you see it develop, even every time I see it, I still take more stuff away. But that was the original thing that caught my eye.
This is for Peter. When casting for Rod Ricky, what was it about John Cena that made you cast him in the role?
I saw him on
Non-prestige.
Peacemaker, and I was about 2 minutes into Peacemaker, and I said, that guy's, I could not believe how hilarious he was. I thought the way he committed to that character, it was a no-brainer. At that moment, I knew he had to be him, and I didn't want to go any. If he wanted to do it, it was going to be him, and we got together and went for it. But by the way, talking more about the plot, it's really about like what happens when your lies come alive. You know, people lie all the time, but what happens when that comes to life, those lies? And why do you lie? You know, people lie for a reason. They don't lie for nothing. This isn't just a bunch of assholes out there lying. They're lying for, there are reasons you lie, and we kind of analyze that too, that's the thing I'm most proud of for the script. Is it's not just there is a reason. That they're behaving this way.
Did you know about his Owen Wilson impression before going on set?
No.
It's pretty good.
Where in the
pretty
history
good.
of our relationship do you think I wouldn't know about that, Pete? Jeepers.
What would Owen Wilson say if he was here today?
No idea that's going for my life. That's for him only. That's for him and the lens only.
That's for the folks who tune in on Prime
Yeah,
Video
that's what
March
you gotta pay
7th.
for. Exactly. Right on.
Yeah.
Can't give that away.
For Zac, you have played so many different roles across so many different genres of film. What do you do to prepare specifically for a comedic role in this role as Dean?
I just honestly listen to Pete. It's not that much different than doing a drama. It's all real. So it's the same stuff. It's this is a great crew. I got to sit and listen to really great actors. So you're just feeding off the energy of the group, of the tribe, and that's kind of the way I go about it.
I mean, speaking of preparation, Ricky is a very intense role preparer. Did that inspire you guys, seeing how just intensely committed this character was to the role? Where you're like, oh no, this is how we have to approach roles now?
Didn't inspire me at all. No, learned a lot what not to do, how not to live.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
Oh no, your commitment was very inspiring. It was great.
It was, man.
For Jermaine, were there any scenes you could not get through without laughing while filming? Are you the big laugher? Is that why you got this one?
I guess, I suppose. I think it was the first scene we shot together. John, Zac, and Santino. Like, I think it was a casino scene when John was doing the shit baby monologue. Excuse my language.
That was
but
the first day of filming.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a huge day. You had a massive day.
Genuinely laughing. It was wonderful. Also, seeing their reaction made me laugh. That was one of the times I couldn't really keep it together.
Keeping it together off camera was impossible when he's doing his thing.
I bet.
And also good chemistry from the jump. Like all four of us in a long day of work for the first day all together, and honestly, it just felt like a team from the first frame. So I think that made it fun, especially too.
And we were in a casino, and they were pumping in oxygen, and
Nice.
yeah.
Nice. For Andrew, Andrew, you have a background in stand-up comedy. Did that help you during the filming of Ricky Stanicky and getting into your character?
I think it helped just my acting in general, just being a comic and walking into the world of, Pete and comedy definitely helps my preparation, for timing and learning the rhythm of stuff like that. I think that definitely helps. And it, makes you listen more. I think that's the best part of comedy. And if you're improvising or you're bouncing or whatever, is just listening to what these guys are saying and trying to utilize it for whatever else you're doing, So, I think so. I hope so. I mean, stand-up is usually alone, but it's nice to be with, with good people.
Yeah.
Makes it easier for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And similarly, for Jeff, coming from an incredibly successful comedy and stand-up career, was it difficult to jump into a scripted role such as this one? And did you take any liberties with your role?
It's funny you mention that because the whole cast came to see me perform the night before I started on set. So I showed up, from a 3 a.m. night to a 7 a.m. call. And when it's funny, it's not hard. It's only hard to make the adjustment when it's not funny. But the script, my part, I loved it so much that I grabbed it. And John understands the idea of coming off tour and going right to work as an actor. And he wrote me a nice note at the end of the shoot, at the end of my part, saying, I know how hard it is to drop your stand-up and come in. And I came in for a week in the middle of the shoot. They were already a team in sync, and they... You know, I gelled well with that. I really liked joining the group. It was kind of a fun departure from stand-up, and I'm so psyched for the movie. So psyched for it.
For William, your character is quite the standout and has a major impact on the story. How do you balance the seriousness of your boss role with the raunchy verbal and slapstick comedy?
Well, I subscribe to the notion that it's not an actor's job to be funny. It's the writer's job to be funny. And I think things come out funnier if the actor is playing the through line. That's what makes it funny. Mm-hmm. But my whole career, I mean, even the serious stuff I've done, I always think you need to bring a little levity into it. God help us from these movies that are unrelentingly sad. I think it's a Mike Nichols rule. If you want people to laugh, come off a serious moment. And if you want people to cry, come off a comedic moment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I never bought the whole idea that there were comedic actors and serious actors,
Sure.
by the way. From day one, on Dumb and Dumber, we had Jim Carrey and we wanted Jeff Daniels in the studio. I said, no, bring in a comedy actor. I said, what are you talking about? Jeff Daniels, like, he can do anything. He's a great actor. And that's you. You know, you could do anything. There's nothing, you don't have to think, oh, they're not funny. They're doing the role, and they could do it funny or serious, whichever it is. The great actors. And you're very much like a Jeff Daniels to me.
That's very flattering.
And this is a good segue because for Peter, you have directed many iconic comedy films that are still fan favorites today. What was your favorite part about directing this specific film and why?
Wow. I just was so happy with the script that it was nice to see it come alive. You know, it's a pleasure when you get everybody in the right roles, and to see it come alive in front of it was exciting after all those years wondering, like, is this a good script? Why isn't it getting made? And by the way, the reason it wasn't getting made because there were a couple things that we hadn't done. We found it got better and better and better. And to see these guys, bring that to it, like, one of my favorite scenes aren't necessarily the funny scenes, although there's a ton of funny scenes in there. They're the real scenes, actually. Like the scene, you two guys at the bar, that's probably the most important scene in the whole movie. And yet it's a very serious scene, but it explains a lot. And it's just, it's enjoyable just to see it come together.
I mean, I imagine over that span when you were trying to get this film made, you went through various versions of the script. How would you say it sort of changed most dramatically from those early versions to what we're going to see on screen?
Well, I think it was just like we were just going for laughs originally, and then we realized, well, wait a second. This is just a bunch of assholes lying to their girlfriends, and that's not right. Why are they lying? And when we thought of that, that changed everything. It's like, oh, okay, so there's a reason you lie, and usually you lie to protect yourself. And why do you protect yourself? Maybe because of fear of some repercussion. And when that comes into it, it changes the tone. It changes kind of everything.
Yeah, the stakes are high. We're all looking out for one another and ourselves. Yeah. It's the commitment to this lie, this bad thing it's really it's motivated out of love. So it's fascinating. It's cool.
When I first read the script, it really caught me off guard that I was moved at the end. I found the ending very moving, and I did not see that coming. And that's when I fell in love with that script.
I got to read the end. Sounds good.
Go see the end.
Yes,
See the end.
because you do. Yeah, you do glean insights why these guys have gotten to this position where, like you said, sort of on surface they might seem like three assholes, but there's a lot of depth to sort of what got them there in the first place. For you three, I mean, can you talk about sort of that multi-dimensional aspects of those characters, like sort of playing them both as you see them on the surface at the beginning, but knowing that there is this depth to their adventures?
I think after our first table read in the hotel room, we all found how complex these lies were. And I remember me and Zach and had that conversation. I think Peter and Andrew, we were all talking about like how complex these lies were, and like what Peter was saying, why they're lying. At the end of the day, like they do love each other, and the scene in the bar, you sort of see the relationship sort of unravel and come back together by that point. But those are the most important scenes in the film, is seeing why these people are the way they are. You know what I mean? So those are really fun to play.
Yeah, you know, there's with these three friends, there's a tremendous amount of respect and deep love that goes back years. There's a lot that's not really said out loud that you can kind of feel, and it was fun to develop that with these guys. It felt really natural. It was fun.
This is for everyone. This film has been described as an homage to some of the great comedies of the 80s and 90s. What aspects of Ricky Stanicky are reminiscent of these comedy classics?
I think one of the reasons people say that is because we don't get enough comedy classics these
Yeah.
days. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
Like this film is audacious. I think you need audacity to make a great comedy too.
I think it's an original concept, and I think it's hard to do original properties. A lot of times, people are rehashing stuff that we've seen, but which is fine. It was extremely original. I've said this before, but Pete may or may not remember. I read this 12 years ago. A friend of mine who was an assistant on a desk sent it to me and was like, "You got to read this." And I read it, and I begged my agent for a meeting with Pete, and I went to your office, and I was like, "Look, I'm a nobody, but this reminds me of all the movies I've loved." And he was like, "Well, maybe we'll see one day." And then years went by, and years went by, and then we ran into each other, and he goes, "We're gonna do that movie," and I was like, "How crazy would it be if I got in that fucking movie?" So, oops, sorry. That
You get one
movie.
of those, you got it. That was
Yeah,
good.
it was an emotional moment. It was
Yeah.
nuts. I mean, we spoke about it over a decade ago. And I was like, one day I want to be a part of it. He's like, we'll see. And I think it was because it was like nothing I'd read before. It was a return to an original concept, something like Ferris Bueller, where you've never seen this before. And this was that to me. It was like, I haven't read this. So it was incredible. I don't know.
And they're making jokes about liars and all that, but at the end it's like about second chances, and it has heart, and that's what made the jokes play. It was like they're all sort of redeemed in a way that made me happy at the end. And another thing about Pete, I've been on his sets before, and especially you say like, what's it like when you're there watching it? Then Pete has his family and friends there to watch back the footage as we're shooting, so you get instant feedback. Almost like a comedy club. Like you're seeing laughs and people are having fun. It's not an intense set. It's a fun set.
Someone once said, comedy is hard work, and I remember thinking, it shouldn't be.
Right.
It should be fun work. It should just be fun, and it's the reason you keep it that way, because I want people to have the courage to try stuff, because comedy doesn't always work. People, if you go out on a limb, I mean, if you work with Bill Murray or Jim Carrey or whoever, any of you guys, the good ones will miss sometimes, but they take chances. And if they're nervous, they're not going to do that. And that's the whole point. But getting back to what Andrew was saying, that was an amazing coincidence running into you right when this movie came back. And I said, oh, wait a second. I'm glad we did. And by the way, that's coming up in a couple weekends, with the Warbs tournament. You going to that? Okay, Patrick Warburton's tournament. We owe him that.
We do, yeah.
Yeah.
Patrick Warburton, the actor, does a great charity tournament for St. Jude's.
Yeah, St. Jude's.
Yeah.
He's the biggest fundraiser for St. Jude's. I think he's raised like
Awesome.
$30 million for
Yeah,
them.
that's where we met.
Yeah.
We ran into each other again. He was with Larry David, and I was like,
You stalked him.
yeah, I did. I go, Pete, where are you going? Can I follow you? I just wanted to meet Larry. I didn't give a shit about Pete. I'd met Pete. But yeah, no, that was the rekindling of a thing that took a long time. But I think that's why it was so good. It baked for a long time, and then they remade it special again. The original was great. I think this is elevated.
Absolutely. You guys, thank you all so much for being here today. You guys can check out the very prestigious Ricky Stanicky on Prime Video, March 7th. I'm at Oscar Films. This film is prestigious as hell, too. Ricky Stanicky on Prime Video, March 7th. Congrats, guys. Great to be here with you all. Thanks for your
Thank
insights.
you.
Thanks very much, Kevin.
Thank you,
Appreciate
guys.
it, man.
Thanks, Craig.